Essentially, bodily functions have dropped step by step. When you become completely unawake, that means you're dead. You're little bit awake means you're in coma. You're little more awake means you're under the influence of anesthesia. Even if we die, the body gets left here, discerning mind goes with the body, rest of the information, and this is already there. But now because there is no discerning mind, this bubble cannot go where it wants to go. So, no two human beings are awake to the same extent. So this whole dimension, if we change the terminology a little bit, probably it will fall into a little better place of understanding, maybe not entirely, but little better. That is, right now when we talk about anesthesia or even coma for that matter, they may be very similar, I don't know medically how you differentiate between the two. Essentially, bodily functions have dropped step by step. In one person, a certain number of functions might have dropped, in another person it might have dropped further. And I would take it further, even what you call as death is just further drop in the bodily functions. So whether it is death, coma, anesthesia, in my understanding and my experience of things, they are not very different. It is just different levels of profoundness of the same thing. When you become completely unawake, that means you're dead. You're little bit awake means you're in coma. You're little more awake means you're under the influence of anesthesia. Little more awake means you just had a drink.
In your experience, but you have not yet died.
Let's not go into that now. We'll go into it some other day because are you in Brussels?
Yes, close to Brussels.
Okay. So, unless you serve me French fries, I'm not going to talk all those things to you right now.
I will offer you French fries and Belgian chocolate.
Well, about when you said before being born and after the death process has happened, see, death is a social thing. It is not existentially right to say death. Because a certain life, like we were talking about bubbles as an analogy, let's continue that bubble. So right now you've blown that big bubble. This bubble has a material, the soap. Depending upon the soap quality, the tenacity of the bubble and how long it lasts is determined by the type of soap and the quality of soap and whatever. So this soap or this structure for this is what we are traditionally referring to as karma. What karma means is accumulated memory which is giving us a shape and a form. So as long as this karmic memory is there, it will contain this life inside. So right now, let's say you were born as this big bubble, but this time around you really made some efforts and made this into this big bubble, possible. So suppose now, let me not take you as an example, let's say I die, okay? It's easy for me to die So if I die right now, well, I leave the body here because the body is just what we have collected from this planet, it has to go back. It's just a material that you picked up to walk through this planet, to do activity in this planet, but the life that you are is still contained in your karmic bubble. Life itself is not yours. That we are referring to as consciousness or life is not yours, it is always there, but you have captured this much. Depending upon how much life you capture, see, it is not just about the data, it's not about the intelligence. Depending upon how much life you capture, accordingly the significance of your life will be determined by that. When I say significance, you as a life, not socially significant, not significant in the world, that is just a consequence. In certain times, people may recognize that significance, in another time they may not recognize. If you came here 1,000 years ago and you say, I'm a neurologist, they will say, they'll just dismiss you, can you wield a sword or not? That's all they would ask you in Brussels, all right? If you cannot, you're out. So I'm saying today in 21st century, you being a neurologist is important because there is a situation, it's a consequence of time. So let's not take that activity as the basis. But the profoundness of your experience is determined by how much life you have captured, how significant you feel when you sit here, not in the context of society, not with reference to somebody else, not comparing myself to somebody and saying I'm bigger than somebody, but when you simply sit here, this is why closing eyes is so important. When you close your eyes, you've shut off the world. When you sit here, what is the significance of your existence? This is determined by how much life you capture. So the entire yogic system, or one important dimension of yogic system, is to see how I capture more life into this one, so that if I sit here, this is a very significant life. Whether others will understand this significance, whether the significance will find expression in the world or not, these are subject to variety of outside realities. But in your experience, you are phenomenally significant because you captured such an immense possibility of life. So once this happens, now it is held together by this karmic bubble, or let us say, it's a kind of a software. Most of the software may be gathered unconsciously, but it is a certain kind of software which holds this together. Even if we die, the body gets left here, discerning mind goes with the body, rest of the information, and this is already there. But now because there is no discerning mind, this bubble cannot go where it wants to go. Now, it will just go by its tendencies. It's very beautifully described. In the yogic culture, we call these tendencies as vasanas. The word vasana literally means smell. So it depends what kind of smell it has. Accordingly, it gets drawn to certain things, accordingly it will draw certain things towards itself. Depending upon how vibrant this karma is, accordingly it stays in a limbo for that kind of period. If it is already become very feeble, it will try to find another form, physical form. If it is not become feeble, it exists by itself for a certain period of time. When I say period of time, when we are in the body, see right now, for you to know how long we've been sitting here, you don't have to look at your watch. You just ask your lower back, it will tell you how long you've been sitting here. Or you ask your urinary bladder, it'll tell you how long you've been sitting here. So body is keeping time. Time is a concern for us only because we have a physical body. If we did not have a physical body, we can sit here for 10,000 years, there's no problem. So once you don't have a physical body, the time-space experience is not the same, but still the experience of being pleasant or unpleasant is still there. There's a whole dimension to this. I think Bala, you must send Steven the death book. I just published a book on death, it's been an 8-year work and it's just come out, and I'll ask Bala to send it to you, or we can send it from UK probably.
Thank you.